Yeah, and the hype is getting real here as Yamin and Mimile started deployment here. Yamin on the left side, Mimile on the right side in blue, 20th Panzer versus 44th. Picks and bans, all pretty standard here. A couple of interesting new bands there, like 184th and 358th, but we went over why that might be with the new SU 122 changes, and Yamin especially practicing a lot around that. And yeah, let's see what this action will bring. Let's get those picks and bans out of there. And you guys now can use the last second of breathing room to get over to Match Reno, because then the action will get really hot here. And yeah, let's see what this deployment will bring.
So, why I don't like this map? Okay, here's my TED talk. All right, the blue town on the southern half of the map that you can see there is very rushable for red. In fact, if you deploy aggressively into there's the red side from your hill, you're gonna be there before the blue player. Okay. Thank you for listening to my TED talk. This is why this map is completely bullshit, unbalanced, and the red side wins.
Well, we're gonna see if this is true. But yeah, the town here for sure a bit easier to push in than the town on the other side. Though you can push in as blue in the northern town as well. If you have
the big difference being that the red side has an entrance that doesn't go over the open back into their town. The forests to the north provide cover where you have short ranges and where from the blue hill you cannot cut off the reinforcement roads, while from the red hill in the south every way into the blue town is over the open ground, and you can cover that open ground from the comfort of your own fortified hill.
Yeah, but the gap is rather small, which can be smoked off, and you have some good forests as well. Yeah, but you can't talk about any Steel Division 2 map down to the detail. That's the classical issue of the not quite mirrored maps, as we StarCraft 2 players obviously would love to see. Just make it symmetrical. Who cares about any natural looking terrain? Just give us that space plateau floating in the skies by the power of will itself, and just let it fight there, right? That's where I want to use my tank
it would be interesting as an experiment, right? But on the other hand, I think there's also something about slightly asymmetrical maps. But it would be interesting to see how a Steel Division game would play out on an actual symmetrical map.
Yeah. So Steel Division 3 matchmaker confirmed, hopefully. Yeah,
Very
in 20
true.
years, when Steel Division 3 finally launches. We will see it, but for now, we have Ocean North as a pretty solid map here. And Mimile with a pretty slow setup here, taking quite his time. Leaves me time to thank Pure Tanner, TSH Lightning, and Desert Seas for starting a hype train out here already, for getting us really, really good into this playoff. Much appreciated the support, everybody. Thanks for the gifted subs. Thanks for all the support. And yeah, let's get some love going. Also, guys, if you've never seen El Bowser before, which is unlikely, but some of you might be new here. Some of you might be one of viewers who wondering who is that sexy, handsome guy in that suit next to Brother Soccer. That's El Bowser, and you should absolutely check him out, especially if you like yourself a bit of High 4 in your life.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys. One of the map guys.
As he is also one of the map guys that runs tournaments. The Oak
Very
Cup
true.
#2 coming up soon. So if you want to have some High 4 esports in your life, check out all of that stuff. And yeah, let's get into the Steel Division esports right here, right now. As Yamin's deployment pretty standard. No tanks outside of one T-34 in the north, which makes sense. We went over why Panzer Force would shred everything else here earlier, so focusing on infantry.
I mean, the T-34-76, I think is his one bet here, right? At medium ranges, the T-34-76 is approximately equal with the Panzer IV, I would say, just cheaper, so a little better. But against the short barrel meme Panzer IV variants, like we see one in the south already, the Panzer IV F1 or something like this. The T-34-76 is actually amazing because it can always pen them, while the meme Panzer IVs with the short barrels are always going to have a pretty hard time penning the T-34-76 back, at least frontally. So rather than deploying some M42 guns, like we see at least two, which, as I said, I think are just going to get suppressed by a mass of vehicles, having a T-34-76 is what I think you actually want, because the T-34-76 doesn't care about the meme vehicle half track with like a bigger gun on it.
Yes, we also have some PTRS, and we have the tool that most likely Yamin will try to win infantry fights with in the North setup as well. Arm 38s, it wouldn't be a Yamin game without an Arm 38. Yamin and Insha absolutely addicted to these things, and they are fantastic, and in the hands of Yamin and Insha, they are even better. Insha most likely using them slightly better still, but Yamin for sure number 2 on the usage of these things. And on the other side now, we start to see a pattern here as well. Panzer IVs and Panzer IIIs coming in the south, and this looks like an insanely big push coming right for the south for Mimile.
Interestingly, he goes for even the Panzer III off-clear card, not just the Panzer III card in the tank tab. And then there's a lot of infantry, so I guess he's gonna try and overwhelm the southern hill. Of course, if you capture the southern hill, you can kind of make a united front with your town and make it very hard to break it again with all the open ground you would have to cross. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see how it turns out. He also took the Flammenpanzer.
Yeah, the Flammenpanzer is an interesting choice. We have seen it a couple of times before from Mimile, but with PTRS on the other side and a lot of Guardia DPs, it's a risky move. Like, those Flammenpanzers usually not alive for a long time against those anti-tank rifles. So, interesting choice. I for sure wouldn't have gone for it, but Mimile has shown a lot of love for Flammenpanzers before over the last couple of matches. So, let's see what he can do in this matchup. I know that
It's just that I think there's so much stuff in its support depth that you could take instead. But I mean, it's always a bit of a question of what you prefer as well. We also see in the center an IG-18, for example. That's another support slot gone, and that makes me wonder: did he take all the meme tanks? Were all the Panzer III ends or some crap like that? Is there even space in the deck if he took both the IG-18 and the Flammenpanzer? Maybe he skipped out on the Grille, which I think is also not great. Like, you do want the Grille, I think. It's so useful in many situations, even if you don't have many 2-kilometer ranges. You can also use it at a shorter range as long as you make sure that you can't be fired back at, right? It's such a MVP weapon that can wipe out whole squads in single shots if you get a little lucky. I don't know what his prioritization was there.
Yeah, and its Soviet equivalent will be there. The SU-152 is coming in, and here we go. Classic recon plane start on both sides as well. There are your favorite planes out there. GO-145 will start this match. Might draw first blood here for Mimile as the action is going on. And let's get this party started.
We already see Yamin also starting with an AA piece in the south. So the southern goal will probably not get off its bombs unless it goes for the first round. But in the north, it will be undisturbed and it can pick its target. It could even kill either the leader or the 50mm mortar, which would probably severely limit Yamin's options in being aggressive in the north, especially if it picks off the mortar.
Yeah, Yamin going for the cheapest recon plane possible as well. With a U2 that actually carries some bombs as well. Yeah. 4 50-kilogram bombs there as well. So both sides starting to with a bit of a meme. Go actually dodges the 25mm for now, but even the 50 cal half tracks here might be able to push it back eventually, as it does return back home. The one on the north still tries to find a target. Will go for an MG bunk in the church tower, which is not a bad choice either. But engagements on both sides now breaking out, as the M42s are in pretty good spots.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Yamin didn't go for the town at all. We also see the town, wouldn't be defended in a way that could hold any serious aggression. There's an Assad-Trupp here, another one, a T-gun, a captured cis-gun in the back that isn't even deployed yet, and a Flammen-Trupp. This would have definitely fallen if he pressured this town. But it paid off. Now he can bring superior strength to other theaters, and we'll have to see how that turns out, especially in the south, where actually we see a pretty strong infantry concentration here, I would say, for Yamin. But he's gonna have to find a way to deal with the armor. I think that single M42 gun ain't gonna do the trick, as... Yeah, okay. Gets a shot off. but now it's revealed.
Yeah, now getting shot at. It has 3-star veterancy, so its rate of fire is insane. But yeah, Yamin realizes he
I mean,
needs
this
to
is
get out of there. As it will die though
yeah.
before it will be able to break line of sight. Maybe a slight bit too far outside in the on the forest edge. Could have
I'm
been
feeling
a bit
so
further back.
satisfied with myself right now. I predicted this exactly, like 100% exactly this. I'm so happy with myself right now. I think I'm gonna have to end this cast right here and call it quits because it's gonna go downhill from here.
Yeah, Geo in the north got the kill on the unit in the church tower. U2 forced to fall back as well. But the SU-152 putting up some nice shots out already. As we try to see another Geo-145. I'm surprised by that with the 25mm round. That looks like a bit of a doomed mission. And going for a half-track, I don't know. That doesn't seem to be worthwhile. Meanwhile, in the north, Yamin is the one with pressure, as he has the ARM 38, he has the T-34-76, but he needs to win there, as the south is collapsing quite quickly now.
The problem here is for Mimile that his Panzer III is a decent matchup against the T-34, but with all of these Guardian TP around, especially if they get a side shot into the Panzer III, they can whittle it down as well. So he's a bit isolated up there, and the Panzer IV F1 that's coming up from the back is not gonna cut it against the T-34. The infantry around there also, I would say, pretty heavily in favor of Yamin at the moment. But as you pointed out, the south is collapsing pretty rapidly. Although Yamin did manage to retreat substantial parts of his infantry here, like he didn't lose it, and he's got a T-34-85 coming in.
Yeah, T-34-85
right.
got the recon tank already. The L luckily did get missed, as the Flammpanzer fights a hard fight against the PTRs in the forest there. So Flammpanzer actually might win that. Yeah, PTRs, they're in trouble, as it didn't get a shot out.
It's falling back. Epic duel.
PTRs in trouble, but the T-34-85 in a really, really good spot there, aiming down the hill. And Mimile struggling to get his units out of line of sight, but his northern situation is pretty dire. ARM 38 allowing the infantry fights to be won. His tank that he had up there got killed off as well. 2 T-34s pushing him there. So the north will be won for Yamin unless Mimile gets an insane amount of success with the Panzerschreck and the Sturmpioneer coming in now. But I highly doubt that Yamin too good with his micro. So Mimile, they're in trouble, but he still has the pressure up on Yamin in the south. Has the 1311 right now. Not too consequential, but at least a nice take for the moment.
Yeah, the thing is, there where he has the Panzer III, the Flammpanzer, and the Panzer IV, what he needs, or what he wants to have happen in the end is for these to move a little bit further forward so that they can look down the main reinforcement road and control it. But right now that would be very risky, as there's the T-34-76 still there, and the T-34-85 can also roll around. On the other hand, the T-34-85 is somewhat exposed to a flanking maneuver through that little forest. The question is, now there's also an M42 gun. It's getting to the point where there's so many anti-tank guns firing back at the clump of Mimile that mass charge of main vehicle strat won't really work anymore. And then I'm not really sure what his plan here is, because the infantry is reinforcing now, and that's gonna be rather hard to chew through.
He has Martyrs coming up. Those can deal with tanks quite nicely.
Ah, yeah, okay.
So he really wants to take the head-on fight there with the vehicles of his enemy. But more T-34-85s coming in for Yamin, so it will be a tough fight. And the question is, does Mimile have time for an engagement like that, as his northern side is collapsing faster and faster, and his engagements there are pretty rough. He has a Panzerschreck that at least might
the Panzerschreck is almost there, actually. That's a dangerous placement for the T-34-76. And that could be, the start of the stabilization here, because once you only have one T-34-76 and, he has holdouts here and there with some infantry, yeah, he gets it, very nice. Maybe there's some ways to fight back, especially if you bring some weapons up on the hill in the south, because you can actually fire onto the northern hill from the protection of your own hill.
Yeah, great dodge on the ARM-38s there as well. It loses the half-track, but the Panzer Grenadiers do survive. And if they are in green cover when the Guardian DPs run into them, from yellow cover. The Panzer Grenadiers actually should be able to hold that ridge. T-34 gets the Panzer IV there though. Sturm Pioneer at least will get the M42 in retaliation most likely, but Yamin is now the one on the 1311 as the Southern situation is stabilizing frontline wise, though both sides really bring in a lot of armored forces there. And
those two models could be very decisive here, especially against the T-34-85. That T-34-85 does not want to engage two models at, firing distance for the model.
Yeah, the Marder's big advantage in those fights is its higher rate of fire, whilst also having 10 hit points. Both sides will penetrate each other most likely, but the Marder with the 8 rounds per minute will get the second shots out faster, which will be a big advantage in those fights. That's why.
And not only that, it also costs half, right? And so, from a cost effectiveness point of view, two Marders engaging one T-34, T-34-85 is, it's point parity, and there's no shot that T-34-85 wins an engagement against two Marders if the two Marders can fire.
Yeah, Marders are fantastic at their job on killing tanks. What they're not so great at are tanking M42 shots, though. And that M42 is in a really good spot. At least the Panzer III will try to help out.
I wouldn't have fallen that back. It's dead anyway.
No.
Let it take another shot at the Marder.
Yeah. I would have let it fire actually as well. As it will... Oh, it will survive, but one hit point is not that much.
Yeah.
The next AT shell will be the end of this. In the north, the Sturm Pioneers did survive. Panzerschreck did get dealt with, so the second T-34 can move a bit around. But Mimile at least getting some anti-tank guns into really good spots. Still has the Flammenpanzer in a good position. And actually grabs a sneaky flag with the Ersatztruppen in the rear.
The frontline memes.
The frontline memes are real. As he now has the 1311. The 25mm A-gun at least stopping Mimile from creating the worst encirclement in history. Two Ersatztruppen getting that encirclement would be absolutely amazing, but the 25mm stops that from collapsing, and now we have a commander.
The commander.
Yeah, Yamin loves his commanders. They give you cost efficiency in the long run. Yamin knows that he usually doesn't collapse early on because he has the micro to protect himself against cheeses, and has the setups for that. So yeah, he usually brings a commander around this time, and he does so once more here. I wouldn't expect that out of Mimile. He is not one of the commander believers, or like it doesn't fit his playstyle. So with the leaders in good positions in the north, this gives great veterancy bonuses now to Yamin. His guided UPs up on 3-star veterancy all around, and those will actually do pretty well against Panzer Grenadiers now.
Yeah, scary as heck once they reach the triple, but on the other hand, if he ever loses the north forward position now, his commander is gonna be somewhat exposed. Like, it's a pretty aggressive position to put your commander in, right? It's beyond the 50-50 line even.
Yeah.
In the south, he has lost the Marder, and he also lost the Panzer III, Panzer IV combination in the forest, where one upscale T-34-85 and one T-34-85 and 176 are making their way through the forest now to clean out the tanks. They meet in the Panzer III. It retargeted mid-shot.
Panzer III changing targets last second, really messing it up there. But Panzerschreck at least, Panzerfaust rather, at least gets the T-34, the small one.
Faust kill.
Marder's still alive, but Mimile, whilst he was holding the 12-12, lost his momentum in the south. Panzerfaust in the north doesn't quite find the T-34 there, so the Panzer III M has to do it, which is struggling on this range. Might be able to do it, but as it has better rate of fire, but it will have a tough time. Panzerschreck in the south, running into Tankos. That's not an engagement you want to have either. Panzerschreck immediately goes down. Comes in a bit too early as the Sturm Pioneers follow it up now, which should be able to deal with the Tankos. Risky unload.
Not like that.
Not like that, yeah. Getting the transport destroyed there and getting deleted immediately. Another Sturm Pioneer coming up. And Yamin's micro on the infantry really paying off. His Arm 38 in the north did so much work. It's now out of ammo, but the 54 shots in head were really well placed. So Perry moving around as well. And Mimile now in
Mid
full-on
enough.
defensive mode, and that's not where you want to be at this stage. Like, yes, he has a small tick advantage, but it's nothing that Yamin couldn't change in a minute or two. So, yeah, you really at least want to have one opportunity for attack, but at the moment I just don't quite see that for Mimile. Mimile will have to get some really good trades somewhere in the next couple of minutes to at least keep the potential of a counter push active.
But the Stalin is coming in the center. In the south, we see 2 Panzer IVs coming up now. That's a substantial investment. 2 Panzer IVs can also deal with the T-34-85 pretty handily, similar to Armada. He's also brought the new Panzer IIIs together with the one Armada that still survived and formed an armored group in the very south there that can come out to the edge of the hill to fight the enemies from the flank, while the Panzer IVs push up the main road. And depending on how the tank engages go there, in 2 or 3 minutes, we could find ourselves in a situation where the German armor actually somewhat wipes the Soviet armor, especially since the only actual armor left in the very front line is one T-34-85. There's a second one coming up now, but as I said in the pre-game analysis of the decks, T-34-85s versus Panzer IVs and Panzer IIIs at a rather short range, it's not cost-effective fights.
Yeah. Absolutely, but the ARM-38 is really cost-effective, as it is hitting a lot of infantry in the south now. ARM-38 there, really allowing those infantry fights, which would be pretty close between Panzer Grenadiers and Guardian DPs, to be pretty one-sided into the favor of Yamin, time and again. And for a 15-point unit, or 20-point unit, that is an amazing job. 25mm from the rear, stopping the GO memes in the north, as Mimile tries to stabilize the front line there now. Ersatztruppen Sturm Pioneers supporting the 2 Cis-3 guns, which are in fantastic spot. Those 2 Cis-3 guns really helping out to at least prevent Yamin from completely flooding the north. But Yamin has the important forests there now under his control, and that is going to be a problem for Mimile in the long run.
Yeah, it's so hard to reinforce that once that one road that leads into the north really is under threat, right? Because everything he's reinforcing here right now, if there's a T-34-85 placed up on that northern hill, it's gonna be constantly under threat, and it's gonna be hard to deal with that. But with the the Stalin went to the south. The Stalin, if he placed that on his center, on his northern hill there, then I think that would be his best bet of regaining control of the north, or at least stopping Yamin's aggression there, because he can't really deal with the Stalin at range.
Stalin is taking care of the important units here, taking off a half-track, really taking care of the important unit on the other side. Let's see if it can actually deal with something valuable like a T-34-85 and the Su-152s, as there's quite a substantial amount of armor now in the center for Yamin, which actually makes the Stalin investment quite worthwhile in my eyes for Mimile, because T-34-85s can't deal with IS-2s. So locking them down with the IS-2 there in the center is kind of nice, but you have to be careful that you don't show side armor in the wrong time, and I'm not liking the position Mimile is moving it into, because that's completely out in the open. So some meme side shots together with some smoke or so could be nice. Su-76 set up as some artillery now in the rear. Whilst we haven't seen any artillery yet for Mimile, as I say that, he brings in SK-18s, which are a pretty interesting artillery piece.
Yes, interesting artillery piece. Right there.
Well, the issue with SK-18s is also their biggest strength, in that they are really accurate, which means that if the enemy sidesteps them, they just will miss. But if they don't sidestep it, they do a good amount of damage, which makes them a pretty unique artillery piece, in that they just don't have real AoE. They are kind of a laser, which is their biggest strength and their biggest weakness at the same time, because the AoE on those shells is pretty light. And yep, let's see how this goes. And as we have some pressure again from Mimile in the south, has a Panzer IIIL around there that tries to push forward. Sturm Pioneers coming in there as well, but infantry-wise, in the CQC department, he just can't quite keep up with Yamin. And
I might lose the half-track with the Panzergrens in him. Okay, no good stuff.
Guardia.
And yeah, like he's got no way here to win the deep forest engages, right? If it's just a question of who has deeper reserves for CQC fighting, the answer is probably Yamin. but more so than that, he also has alternative ways of winning deep forest fights. As you've pointed out many times, bringing a 20mm mortar can help you push through these deep forest engagements, even if you don't have specialized deep forest infantry, and that we don't see such weaponry deployed by Mimile so far. I'm thinking of maybe the Wolframen could also clean out forests for him, but I mean that's obviously a huge investment, and if you're then gonna use it to constantly bomb infantry here and there, it's also questionable whether that will ever pay off. But yeah, the deep forest engages so far being problematic at least.
Yeah, interesting to see no off-maps on either side yet either, as the off-map nerfs seem to have taken effect, because the 44th without off-map was unthinkable half a year ago, before the off-map went to 170 points. And now the off-map on the other side did the same, it went to 170 points as well. Otherwise, usually you would see the 220mm off-map with 20th Panzer as well, but for 170 points, only having 2 salvos is pretty risky on this level, as getting an off-map that pays you back 85 points, not that easy. And
The AC-152 is hammering the Marder with max distance. Also, Mimile has pushed his Panzer III in here very aggressively. I would call this usually very reckless, but there's actually a complete lack of infantry anti-tank in this area for Yamin, and if he pushed that Panzer III all the way through, he could get right in the face of that Cis free gun, gun it down with the machine gun before it could even fire back, and then he'd find himself in a pretty commanding position on the hill actually, with his armor having reached the complete edge. And in general, he's punching through. Right now, there's a T-34-85, somewhat rotating around, but this is 2 Panzer IVs and a Panzer IV with a short barrel here. At this distance, the T-34 is going to get massacred. That is the first pen.
Panzer 3L goes down to the SU-152 though, as it seemingly was pretty low on hit points. But yeah, the T-34-85 there is in trouble.
It actually survives a lot of shots right now.
But
it sniped
it
the
goes
leader
down
even.
Finally, trades at least against 1 Panzer IV. But the Flammenpanzer doing a pretty good job there as well. SU-152 survived against the Panzer 3L. Got penetrated once there as well though. And the Flammenpanzer knows there are no anti-tank rifle in front of it, so it can just roll forward, can roll on top of the Cis-3. And the Cis-3 and the ARM-38 can't do anything about it. The Flammenpanzer will kill off a good amount of units here. With shooting at the ARM-38, it should have shot at the Cis-3 gun. That was a mistake. As if it would have forced the Cis-3 gun to move, the Cis-3 gun just would have never gotten a shot out. And instead the Cis-3 gun actually might now go on to a killing spree. Panzer IV out in the open, already penetrated once. MGs open up fire though, so the Cis-3 gun as leads goes down, but the T-34-85 on the hill as well. Pretty bloody fight on both sides here. Big casualties down here, but Mimile still under pressure in the north. Yamin here up on the 1311. Mimile trying to get back into the northern forest, but there's just way too much there. So he really has to focus on the south. Panzer IV goes down there though. And he doesn't have any Pak 40s or so. He brings in more Martyrs. But the T-34-85s on the edge of that hill are a problem. Forcing him back time and again into the forest. Stopping him from securing that southern flag. As he can't win the forest fight. And he can't move through the open either. Because the T-34-85 there lock him down quite nicely.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of new Panzers coming in the south. A Panzer IV leader, another Panzer IV, Panzer III again, and 2 Martyrs. Also, the Beute Stalin has rotated to the north now, and is gonna try and secure, I guess, the center ground from the comfort of his hill. But the infantry cover around it is light. There's some Martyrs coming up now to secure it as well. Northern situation looking like probably Mimile doesn't want to keep investing here, I would say. The forest is so strongly fortified, there is even a commander behind it. Everything has incredible vet values. You're gonna have to cross all of this open ground where you're gonna get shot at constantly. It's up, but as I said, that the Cis free gun might find the kill on the SU-152. But I think he would be way better off just trying to make a solid front line there that can't be broken easily, and then investing all of his points into the south and or center. Because the north is going to be an endless sinkhole for points that's never going to yield anything for him.
Yeah, SK-18's firing a lot now, but we have an Su-76 to be obnoxious on the other side. doing counter battery, and the Su-76 will take a good while to get any kills onto the SK-18s. It's an inaccurate gun with a small caliber, but it will just be annoying. It will keep the SK-18s stressed out,
This
running
is such
around.
a meme fight. The
And-
SK-18s are also firing back at the Su-76. It's such a meme fight.
Yeah, they just used counter battery there. You want to make sure that it is not a CIS-3 gun that keeps you occupied, that it is actually Su-76s, because otherwise you would just feel stupid in the end for not dealing with the CIS-3 guns. But yeah, the SK-18 there as a counter battery will have a tough time getting the kill either. Ooh, as a Su-76 landing a perfect hit there on the SK-18, getting 5 hit points down with 1 hit. Pretty fortunate, and actually those shots are all landing really close. In the meantime, though, Su-152 going down to the Beute Stalin. But yeah, SK-18 going down there to the first salvo of Su-76 shots. Quite unfortunate. Beute Stalin gets the kill onto the Su-152 in the open, though. And Beute Stalin in general there, pretty scary for Yamin, especially as a CIS-3 gun goes down as well. CIS-3 gun tried to get north. Beute Stalin already kind of paid off completely now, not just by zoning the enemy away, but also by just getting outright kills here, which is fantastic news for Mimile, who needs traits like this to get back, as he finally found some success in the southern forest as well, got enough Sturm Pioneers in there, and he has control over that flag. It's still a 14-10 for Yamin, though, as Yamin pushes through with infantry in the south, in the center, and there's no small tanks there to stop all these Saperis and Guardias. There.
The real problem here in the south is he took control of the hill pretty decisively, but now the Yamin counteroffensive is coming in. This is a pretty thick wall of infantry and another T-34-85. The Marder is coming out to engage it, and in the very, very short engage ranges here, it might actually be alright against the T-34-85, but if it runs into the Guardian DP, it's gonna get massacred. In general, it's gonna come down to whether he can hold off this counterattack. If he can, he's probably gonna stay in control of the southern hill forever and ever and ever, and he can focus on regaining his ground in the center to at least reach parity again in terms of flags, and then, you know, try and work it from there. But for that, he'll need to first defend this counterattack. And I think the one Panzergren plus the Pioneer Führer here is not gonna be enough.
Beute Stalin, in the meantime, got penetrated once, as it got baited into showing side armor. Did get some good shots out again, though, and T-35 gets finished off by the Marders on the flank, so Mimile still with the better traits there. The Marder Beute Stalin combo, amazing at dealing with T-35s. That hill should be secure. Still in need of getting a flag back, though, as Yamin, at the halfway point now, 25 minutes in, has a good tick advantage over his opponent here now. So Mimile still will be in... Oh!
The Beute Stalin! Ah!
That was a frontal penetration of a T-34-85 on 1,200 meters against the Beute Stalin. That is just outright unfortunate there for Mimile. That is not what you would expect to happen.
Never lucky.
Never lucky there.
Chatters, let me know. Are you a Mimile fan? Okay. If there's 1 million Mimile fans, are you one of them? If there's only 1 Mimile fan, wait, I need to bring up the copy pasta. I don't know it by heart. There we go. Yes, thank you, Desert.
Nice. The Flak 43 tries to engage the Saperi there as well. We have northern engagements. T-34-85 pushing through there as well, as the CIS-3 gun has fallen. 76mm gun getting killed off on the hill. Saperi and Guardia DP pushing in further. And ooh, this is looking really good for Yamin. Might take out the northern spawn now even. And this would be obviously kind of the end for the north for Mimile completely. Needs to find a way of stopping that.
But he's also, like, this is very aggressive here. Look, he's leaving basically a little bit of a hole behind him as he moves his entire formation forward here, right? All the infantry across the open. And, I mean, the Beute Stalin is dead, but this is exactly what I would have used the Beute Stalin for, bringing it out onto the northern side of the hill where the Marders are going right now, and it would control the entire north side in this scenario, right? But
yeah, what
the Marders might even be enough right now,
not
actually.
seeing a Ju-87 D5 against a T-34. Like, that could be a perfect punish as well.
True.
But the T-35 will capture the spawn, will turn it off. No Ju-75 around yet. Would be
In the
surprised
south, the
if that
Pack
is
40
not in the
finds an
deck.
SU-152.
As Pack 40's in the south in the meantime though. Might get a good engagement here. No, too stressed out. Does miss the T-35.
It already killed an SU-152, that's why.
Yeah, but it struggled against the T-34. T-34 gets the kill. Southern flag recaptured by Yamin for now as well. CQC infantry-wise, Mimile, slight advantage, has a couple of pioneers, but there's 3 guided EPs there. And his half-tracks can't really help out against that. So they are a bit stranded. And yeah, the northern situation in combination with that is quite problematic. He gets Martyrs out to deal with the T-34, but there are no great line of sights onto the spot where the T-34 is at. You really would need to use a Ju-87, but he just doesn't seem to have it in the deck, or seems to have forgotten about it. As if there ever was a good target
I mean,
for
he
it.
also doesn't have a Grille, I think, right? We haven't seen a Grille yet. That would
No.
be so strong against all this open field infantry aggression that we've seen. But
With
I think the
plum
situation is
hunters.
not quite as dire for Mimile here. I think this northern push here by Yamin is a super overextension. It doesn't capture any additional flags. His entire infantry reserve is now out in the open. If he ever loses that second T-34-85, the armor can go completely ham on that, and nothing can stop the armor from just destroying this infantry in the open. In the meantime, in the south, if we actually look at the vehicles, count vehicles, there's 2 Mardas, 2 Panzer IVs, a Panzer III, another Marder in the south, Pack 40, and it's up against one T-34-85 and then another one that's stuck in the forest, and like some CIS-3 guns that are in the very back. Like, I feel like the armor in the area is much stronger for Mimile, you know, unless he engages one of the Panzer IVs into one of the T-34-85s at a time, but... I feel like this is not... I mean, it says 59 right now on the flags, but I think strategically his position has actually somewhat improved in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, the amount of Martyrs and Panzer IVs in the south is quite nice. The T-34 in the forest has to die. Panzer Grenadiers are
And
really
it's
close though. Ooh, it runs into Panzerfaust range, and it eats the Panzerfaust to the face. Really, really important kill there for Mimile. Allows his Martyr now to push forward with the half-track. Panzer Grenadiers, down to 1 hit point, might still be able to capture that flag if the guided EP gets pinned down. Another infantry there, a couple of Ersatztruppen or so to secure that flag would be really, really important now. But only 1 T-34-85 remaining in the south. 2 CIS-3 guns to back it up somewhat, but SK-18 already on top of that. Gets one with a one-shot. CIS-3 gun losing 5 hit points to 1 SK-18 hit there. And the second one is still in range to maybe eat some stress there as well. So good situation here for Mimile in the south. At least gets it back to an 11-13. Got rid of the T-34-85 in the north as well. Gets that flag back. Where are the Panzer IIIs? Where are the Grillas to deal with the infantry in the open now?
Yep. I think if he keeps this up in the south, eventually he'll end up with so much armor that he can just frontally assault the hill in the center. Because there's... If you actually count it, the hill in the center has exactly 2 anti-tank weapons in it. Those are the 2 T-34-85s. There's no AT guns. The SU-152s don't have an anti-tank shell. It's like, it's actually fairly limited in terms of actual standoff potential. In 1v1 engages, where it's like 1 T-34-85 versus 1 Panzer IV, something like this, obviously he can still trade well. But in a full frontal, you know, assault scenario, I'm not sure he has the raw firepower to actually kill the Axis armor here.
CIS-3 gun in the north though got rid of 3 out of 4 Martyrs, which is a problem there for Mimile, as a new T-34-85 has arrived. And he only has 1 Martyr left to deal with it, which potentially could do it, but you don't really want to take that 1v1 engagement. M42 meanwhile under fire by the SK-18. The SK-18 has been busy all game through. SU-76 currently not being used as counter by the way anymore. I'm not sure why. Maybe he has just forgotten about it for now, as this game is busy all over the map non-stop. Q2 flying around. Panzer IVs there helping out against the Sniperis. They got rid of some infantry as well though. As we see a good amount of more forces coming in the south. 2 more Panzer IVs and a good amount of Panzer Grenadiers and Sniperis. So Mimile really wants to lock down the south. And if he can get a push onto that center hill going, if he can overwhelm the T-34-85s, as you said, he still has a shot in this game. but he has to get some flex under control soon, as we are only having 18 minutes remaining, and the current point situation is not really good for Mimile.
I think he needs to achieve breakthrough with probably this or the next tick of buy-ins. He's bringing in 3 more infantry units into the south and 2 additional Panzer force. With that, he's gonna have like a lot of armor. It's gonna be like up to 8, 9 tanks or something in that area. And he will need to make something happen with this, because not only does he need to get back to parity, right? He probably needs to get to a double tick if he wants to still out-tick his opponent. And for that, he's gonna need to strike deep.
Yes, T-3045s here in good positions. ST-152 in the north, still really obnoxious. T-3045 actually went onto the hill, and all the Panzer Grenadiers there are DP ones, and those don't have anti-tank weapons, so they can't really do anything about that T-3045. Something
but he's lost a bunch of
T-35s
already like this, right? Running them into forests. I think he's gonna maybe not do it this time, because the last 2 times he did it, they got clapped by Panzerfaust. So, there might be hesitation there now.
SK-18 in the rear, trying to deal with the Saperi, trying to deal with the Guardia Conradi. Marder 1 coming up. Yes, anti-tank absolutely needed for Mimile in the north. Affording even a Marder at this point with an 80-point tick, though, not that easy, as it's half a minute of income, or even slightly more than half a minute of income at this stage. So getting all of these anti-tank weapons out is quite pricey. And there's still a lot of infantry now in the open as well, as he never got Panzer IIIs to clap these infantry units that are just moving absolutely freely there. Marders turned off the HE shells, as they don't want to reveal themselves. They want to keep themselves out there for the T-3045, but they're not close to the T-3045, and that one is going to town now. Flak 43 will go down there. SU-152 shooting onto that hill as well will get some kills eventually. So Mimile on a big timer, as he needs to put some pressure up in the south. Has the infantry unloaded there now? Panzer Force arriving everywhere as well. Ooh, that one in the south, pretty close to some Automachikis with anti-tank grenades.
Yeah, no, that's risky. And I mean, we're now in that phase of the game where the Automachiki usefulness completely takes off in the late game. Where in the early game, if you have them with very high veterancy, they can still be good in forest engages. But usually, every deck that is played has something in the early game that has either flamers or molotovs or satchel charges or something like that. And then the Automachiki are not that great anymore unless you have so many that they delete the pioneers before they can throw the grenade, which is pretty high bar to pass. But as the game goes on, eventually, usually the decks run out of infantry that carries flamers, molotovs and such. And then suddenly a C-phase card of Automachiki are unbeatable super monsters in deep forests because you have nothing to flame or satchel charge them anymore. And on top of that, they even have an anti-tank grenade for those late game sneak attacks. And we kind of see that coming in now, where what's gonna stop all the Automachiki in deep forests now everywhere?
SK-18 best anti-tank gun in the game, question mark. Engaging T-45 in the north with its AP shells. Does not get a good hit though. Marder gets a penetration against the T-45, but so does the T-45 in return. So really dangerous engagement there. More Panzer Grenadiers coming up. A Flak Feeling Truck is a pretty big investment. 120 points at this stage, but the south territory is gained by Mimile. Just not enough flex yet though. The Marder versus SU-152 engagement here. It should be pretty good for the Marders. First SU-152 going down, Marders on the hunt, and there's only 3 T-3045s still remaining in the south.
Yeah, and he lost 2 of his Panzer Force already, crossing the open into a pretty stupid position where he got sniped by the Cis-3 gun in the back, I think. And that was rough, losing 2 Panzer Force to that. It takes a bunch of punch out of this already. But there's new Panzer Force coming up from the rear to replace them. Maybe they'll have a better time.
Yeah,
but he needs to force some tank engages that he can win.
Both sides.
Like here against the T-3045 goes down! And now the center hill is basically don't have any armor killing capability anymore.
There's a T-34 rotating down south though, and that outranges the Marders right now, which is a massive problem for Mimile. He needs to get the Marders out there ASAP. He's struggling to move them around. They struggle to get away.
They're
No.
hugging out.
The edge of that swamp there means that the first one is going down. Second one might just made it off line of sight. No, it gets shot, and that might be the end of the second mother.
Missed.
That was close. You two flying
It's not
around
moving
yourself.
anymore! No!
Oh, and it will fall back in the wrong direction. It will fall back in the wrong direction. That mother is doomed. That's the T-45. 3-star veteran team missed a hell of a lot for that, but oh my goodness. SU-152 might make it with the HE shells. How does it?
And the SU-152 as well. The T-45 misses again. Come on, Mother 1 crew.
They actually make it off line of sight, but it still leaves Mimile on only 10 flags here, with only 30 minutes remaining. He might make it to the 50-minute mark if he can stabilize a bit more, but it's hard to see how he can win this game at this start.
He lost too much, yeah. It's over.
He is
but
out
not
of
for the
tanks
Mother 1 crew. They get to go home.
Mother 1 is really running away now. SK-18 and Mara in the north holding the line, but they just don't have enough infantry around for any pushes, and that's a big, big problem.
That Mara survived its own vehicle weight worth of ammunition being lobbed at it for like, I don't know, 2 minutes straight. True heroes.
SK-18 under fire, more infantry coming up in the north. PaK-40 trying to get into the south, but there's just the trade's just too much in favor of Mimile, especially in the north, where the situation has become a bit out of hand. No infantry cleanup there. I'm a bit surprised by the lack of the Panzer IV Fs were there, but neither the Krillin nor the Panzer III Ns were there, which is an odd choice in this matchup in my eyes.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, it felt a little bit like maybe the deck was not adjusted to, or not adjusted too much to 44th, to facing 44th. For example, he brought out the Cis free guns in A phase, right? But what do you really want Cis free guns for against 44th, right? Like against the one card of T-3476s?
Well, he used them a lot as
you don't bring a
artillery.
Grille, right?
He used them as radio artillery, I guess, which is absolutely worthwhile. Like 45 points for a radio artillery piece is kind of a steal. But yeah, PaK-40s against T-35s obviously work better. So
Plus, you can even take half-cost PaK-40. You can just bring the Panzer RSO, and you basically got yourself a mobile PaK-40 for half the price right there.
Ooh, another Panzer IV goes down in the south. PaK-40 at least might retaliate on the M30. Ah, it misses
in the
twice.
North, it's another Mother go down as well. Like at this point, it's also just that both sides have worn themselves down quite substantially, and with the limited income at this stage, once both sides have worn themselves down, it's very hard to ever amass enough units in any area to really push again.
SK-18 aiming with its AP shell. Can it find a kill? Yes, it can. SK-18 best AT gun confirmed. It's 9 damage AP shell, the most useless number ever, because it doesn't allow you to one-shot anything substantially, but it has 9 damage, which I always find kind of curious. But yeah, it gets the kill there. Meanwhile, 122mm gun fires onto the hill in the south. Panzer Grenadiers and co. tried one last desperate push, but there's just still too much on that hill. T-34 around. The Cis 3 gun that is still alive there for Yamin. Still alive, full hit point actually. Absolute MVP this game. It killed so many tanks by this stage. And stopping the last hope here of Mimile of getting a push through dead in its tracks. As T-35s all around. SK-18 in the north still desperately trying to get something done, but it's just too much. Obviously, Mimile doesn't quite see how much there actually is. So he is trying, as it is the tournament finals. You don't want to give up too early. You don't want to be told that, oh yeah, you could have had a shot and you blew it. But at this stage, otherwise, it kind of would be time to tap out, I guess. and maybe get your
There's
head...
also another aspect to this is that usually in Steel Division we never have such long series.
Exactly.
But since this is a best of 5, he might be thinking just, I'm a pretty young guy. I play, my 8 hours of ladder. I am experienced in playing for a long time. Maybe I can just wear my opponent down, right? Like maybe if I just make the first 2 matches take 2 hours, at the end he'll just already be tired and I will still have the stamina to carry on playing at a high level and he will not. So maybe he's just trying to straight up tire Yamin out.
Yeah, SK18 here coming around. And Mimile is used to long games, right? Like, he has the stamina, he is the juggernaut player. His games can go on for forever. But
I mean, he's also young and plays the game a ton, right? Like when I started playing, I also played 8 hours straight up, and it was like, damn, it's so like I had way more like enthusiasm and energy there. Where nowadays after 2 or 3 hours of lettering, I already feel the drain, right? Like it's just exhausting because you play on a high level, right? You need to think, you need to be fast. But when you're young and super motivated, you can go harder and longer.
Yep, in the end here, Mimile does surrender. And KD is pretty heavily in favor of Yamin. That was to be expected. As there was just that one breaking point where it went all downhill for Mimile. Kept on coming back time and again in the south, had some good engagements there, but the north just collapsing a bit too quickly. Infantry fights in the forest just a bit too good for Yamin, and Yamin really with a great execution here. That game was...
Look at the T-34-85 Odina. It's like a bit below the half point. There's one that killed... oh my god, that's such a fucking cursed T-34-85.
Boy, the Stalin.
Heroes of the Union.
3
Heroes
mothers.
of the Union.
And the flak feeling.
No, not 3 mothers, bro. Flak feeling. Flak 43.
And yeah, then Molina, the Cis 3 gun in the south, getting 2 Panzer Force, a Marder, and 3 Panzer Grenadier squads at the same time. That's quite painful as well.
Another hero of the Soviet Union right there.
Yeah. On the other side, kill-wise for Yamin, Boy, the Stalin did okay. But outside of that, nothing with any super fancy kills. Martyrs taking out Su-85s and T-34-85, obviously great, but nothing with a really long list. As Yamin always adopted. When there was a problem, he always adopted pretty quickly, figuring it out. And yeah, Mimile running into the same units, maybe a couple, 2 times too often. And that leaving him down here in the end with Yamin up 1-0. So yeah, let's see how it will go on in game number 2. Both sides already on the pick and ban. So we should go into the next game pretty quickly, as they are already on that, with Bobra getting banned, Krupa getting banned, Chattering getting banned. Love to see that. As we will play